Welcome back to yet another podcast after me accidentally deleting the last podcast we made. Luckily we got it back, but we don't have the cameras recording. Now we do. We have
Dru Guerra.
Dru Guerra here.
I'm not Dru Guerra, but I'm Jagger Bloom.
I'm Dru Guerra.
What I was meaning to say is I forgot his name for a second. We have
Jagger Bloom.
We have Jagger Bloom to my left and our special guest
Dru Guerra here.
Dru Guerra. Now, Dru, I understand you do some tricks with, what do you use?
Some tricks. All right, so what I do
Dru,
is action sports.
A little closer to the mic.
Move a little closer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. So what I do is I do action sports. You probably think of scootering and BMXing and all that stuff, right? But I actually do something different called scootering. And when I say that, you probably think of a little kid on a razor scooter or something like that, doing tail whips and hitting his ankles and stuff like that. No, that's not what I do at all. So basically, the scooter that I have, it's in total, the setup is like $500, $600 something dollars around there, just because of the parts and the quality that they're made of, and like what they're made of.
Interesting.
And what we do basically is we would do obviously what you would probably think is a bunch of tricks. Basically, we're like swinging it over our heads, doing flips, tail whips, and all that good stuff. And I actually compete too. So actually at the end of October, I'm going to Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, to compete in a competition ran by a company called ISF. And that is where, if you want to be top in the world and go all the way to the top with scootering, that's where you want to go, is ISF. So this is going to be my biggest competition yet, and that is going to be at the end of October.
So how did you get into scootering? Like, was it your first, or did you start as skateboarding, or like how did you get into it?
Good question. I actually got scootering when I used to live in California, Huntington Beach, California, and scootering is really big out there. So is skateboarding, BMX, all the action sports you can think of is big out there. So
would you go to like those GTA skate parks over there?
The GTA skate parks? Like Venice and
yeah,
stuff?
Venice.
I wish. You know, I actually didn't really live that far from it.
Where is Huntington?
Huntington? It's on the coast of California.
Is it like by LA?
It's by LA, yeah.
Oh,
it's
so
by
in
LA.
the LA area.
Yeah, it's by LA. I was familiar with that area. But I was actually just, I was in the car with my parents one day, and we just saw this skate park on the side of the road, and I saw some people riding it, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And the first time I wanted to go out there, I took my little, of course, razor scooter and just cruised around and had the best time of my life. And I saw these kids out there doing backflips and doing these crazy tricks, and I was like, hey, you know what? I want to get a pro scooter and possibly do that one day.
So you had never ridden a scooter before, and you were just driving.
I have, but not at a skate park. No, this was the first time.
So you had ridden at home.
Yeah.
But then you saw a skate park, and you were like...
I was like, I want to go there and try that.
I
was able to get it the first day. I mean, I was riding down the small ramps. It was pretty easy. But, I mean, I wanted to get to the point where those kids were, like, throwing backflips.
Oh, those small ramps. Those small ramps scare me.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
well, I mean, they're not that bad. I mean, there are some big ones. Some of them are, like...
The
tallest
bumps?
one there was, like, 5 feet.
Are you talking about, like, the little bumps?
Yeah, it was little. It was, like, 3 feet tall.
I can't do that. I can do it with the bike. A scooter... That terrifies
me. It was a little sketchy, but I mean, I got the hang of it really quickly. Then, I don't know, a month later, I got my first pro scooter, and that's when I actually started doing tricks and learned a few tail whips and stuff like that.
So what's the difference between a regular scooter and a pro scooter?
So, it's going to sound ridiculous, but the first thing is a pro scooter doesn't fold. You know, like a razor scooter. You can fold it, and you can take it places, all that. Pro scooters don't fold. They're obviously a lot more costly. So like I said, my setup right now is like $500, $600. And they'll last forever. And they're meant for tricks. And they look a lot cooler, too. You know, they're not all janky aluminum metal. They're all, like, big and beefy and meant to take a beating. So, yeah, that's what they're going to be looking like.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we actually have a couple clips that Dru sent in. We'll show you guys right now.
this is what he does. So what skate parks do you go to around here?
So I really go to all the skate parks. There's one in Allen, McKinney, Frisco, Plano, Louisville. There's even one really close to Little Elm. It's called Providence. There's one in Denton, and I mean, there's so many all over.
If someone would be interested in like either scootering or skating or whatever at a skate park, which one would you recommend someone go to, like as a first?
A first skate park, Frisco is very good. The reason why it's very good is because, number one, it's a lot of space, really big park. It's got all sorts of ramps, small, big. And I'm talking small, you've got like 2-foot ramps, maybe even a foot tall, all the way to 12 feet tall. So you got everything available to you there. And it's also a really nice area. You know, I've been out there plenty of times. All the people out there are friendly. The only bad side is you might have little kids getting in your way all the time.
Yeah.
But that's really easy to avoid. So, yeah, Frisco is a really good option for a first skate park.
So when you get older, you think we will be hearing Dru Guerra headlines?
Dru Guerra, I don't know. I'm trying to make my name big out there. I mean, I'm already running my own website, teaching lessons in the area. I've gone on the news one time. That was in Canada.
So how did you get into teaching lessons?
It's a weird story. It's actually kind of funny. So I taught like a little bit of lessons before this happened, just to test it out and see how it was. I wasn't really into it because I was afraid it was going to take up my entire schedule and I wouldn't be able to ride by myself all the time. And I was actually riding with my friend. His name is Hunter. Goes to a completely different school. And his dad is actually a skateboarder. So
professionally?
Not professionally, but he's been skateboarding for years. And he's like, I don't even know. He's pretty old, but he still rides a skateboard. And he saw these people riding a scooter, and he goes up to them without me even knowing. And he goes, "Hey, you see Dru over there? He teaches scooter lessons." I'm like, "What?"
You just
I didn't teach scooter
like,
lessons.
what are you
at the time.
talking about?
I'm like, "What?"
So
And then they came up to me, and they're like, "Oh, so I heard you teach scooter lessons." And I went along with it, and then took off from there. And now I have kids all over Frisco, Allen, McKinney signing up for scooter lessons, and I usually have one every single week.
So you have on average one a week.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like, it's really dry. I'll have like one a week, maybe not even, and then I'll have one every single day of the week.
So on average, would you say you have like 2 a week, 3 a week? Like if
2,
you
3.
were to
2, 3.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if someone were to take a lesson, how much do you charge?
So it's divided by skill level. So beginners, those are the people that don't do tricks, just learning the basics of scootering and don't know a lot. That's $25 an hour. And for the advanced people that are learning tricks and like wanting to get into competitions and stuff and take this very seriously, that's $40 an hour. But I also offer this package that if for beginners you pay for $125 up front, that's the price of 5 lessons. You pay for that price up front, you get a 6th one free. And that's the same for advanced, but that's $200.
It's a good deal. So on average, how long are your lessons?
Just an hour. Some people will request to do longer, but they have to pay for that extra hour.
Yeah. So
people
will stick to that hour.
Yeah, people will normally just stick to the hour, and whenever people are first buying their lessons, they'll pay the regular $25 to see how it is, just like a test. And then if they're comfortable, they'll go to the bigger lesson and pay the full price, $125 or $200, and then they'll do even longer lessons. But every hour counts as one lesson.
So do you have any students that have gone on to like become really good, or are they all still just
takes
kind of learning?
while. I mean, I've been scootering for over 3 years now. Well, I've been back into it for over 3 years. I've had past experience, but I really only started progressing 3 years ago. So to get to that level where I have a kid like severely progress from a beginner to a pro, that takes years, and that just doesn't.
And you've
happen.
how long have you been teaching?
Usually the longest I've had kids go for about 2 packages, so that spans over about 2 months.
So they don't really
get super high, but like the kids that are advanced that I teach, they'll start progressing because, like I said, we focus on tricks only, and that's when I get like really in detail with them. I'm like, okay, you got to do this and that, and just focus on tricks, and that's where the real progression comes from. Because starting as a beginner, it's really slow, but once you get advanced and you start knowing the background and the skill behind every trick, it gets very easy from there, and then you can see the progression from there.
So, running out of time here, but it's pretty interesting so far to learn. We just got one more question.
One more question, I guess. So
what do you usually do with the money, like that you've been earning?
What do I usually do? I mean, I save up a lot of it. I mean, I got other things to pay for.
Yeah.
Example,
Smart man.
cars and
Yeah.
my car and
Smart man.
stuff. And, I mean, if I break a scooter part, I got to have money for that.
Yeah,
I
that's
got to
true.
stay up there and stuff. But, I mean, I don't really do much. I just use the money for stuff that I need. And other than that, I just save it up.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
Drew, do you plan on going to college, or do you plan on growing your business?
I like that question.
Scootering.
So it's kind of confusing for me because I come from a family background of entrepreneurs. Everyone in my family runs their own business and stuff like that. And, I mean, I already have people on my side to teach me, so I don't necessarily have to go to college. So I can learn from them. But if I were to go to college, I would go in for business just so I do have some knowledge behind that. And I also plan to build a skate park in the future and grow off of the website that I already have. So if I were to go to college, I'd do business so I can, of course, grow my website and possibly build a skate park around here. And I also, like I said, have the people behind me, like my family members, to back me up because they're all, like I said, a background of entrepreneurs.
Might be a good idea to also go into marketing.
Yeah, that's what my dad does.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
and my
that's
brother
good.
Andre. My brother Andre, he actually codes, and my dad owns a pool company called Element Glow. You ever seen those like pebbles? It's like Pebble Tech. Like if you look at the bottom of a pool, it's kind of all pebbly. It's those, but they glow in the dark.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So you plan on growing your own small business because you come
Yes,
from...
based off of scootering, yes. And I've seen tons of people do it. I mean, there's this guy who runs a company called Hang 5 Gear. We call him Big Rob. But this guy, he owns a skate park in Arizona, super famous skate park, and he owns a company called Tough Spas. It's a spa company with like hot tubs and stuff. And dude's insanely rich. I mean, his go-to-work car is a McLaren.
Oh, wow.
I've seen it every
That's
day.
his daily?
Yeah, his
Oh
daily.
my
That's his
gosh.
daily. I go up to the skate.
Dang.
When I went to Arizona, every day I'd go to that skate park. It's a McLaren sitting in the parking lot, an orange one.
Wow.
Dang. Well, do you think that's all the time we have?
Well, yeah, that's all the time we have now. This is our
I guess we could do a part two. with Drew.
first quote unquote
Part two.
full episode with cameras rolling, everything sounding good. Drew, thank you for being here, even
Yeah,
though
no
you're in our
problem. It was good talking to you guys.
classroom.
Glad I was able to spread the word about my scootering. Hopefully nobody makes fun of me.
What's
in
your
school.
Instagram so people can...
My
look you
Instagram
up?
is Dru_Guerra04. DRU_GUERRA04.
Also, what's your website? So if someone wants some lessons, they could...
Put
Same
in the
name,
link.
Check it
Dru
out.
Guerra, and .com right after it.
Interesting. All right. Well,
So hopefully we can interview you next year and we'll see where you at.
Yeah, for
Unfortunately,
I won't be here.
Jagger
Yeah.
won't be
Drew's a
Jagger
here.
won't be
junior, so he's
Yeah,
got
I'm
some
a-
time to decide.
I'm
I'll
only
be
a
a senior next
sophomore, so
year.
they'll be seeing
He'll
me
be here for 2 more years.
2 more
Y'all
years.
are
Jagger
gonna
will
get
be leaving
sick
us
of him.
2
soon.
more years.
Yeah, this is my last year here, guys. Miss me while I'm gone.
Well,
Anyway, that's all.
Thank you.
See you next
Later,
week.
guys.
Or not next week, probably tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
We're recording a bunch more. Bye. Woo!